Now, ladies and now, ladies and gentlemen, newest host of Masters of Matinee, Judas Cinema Closet. Hey, decapitated head, the hell you doing? I'm trying to go over my lines for the intro of the new episode of Mom. Having some trouble finding a cool way to introduce Judas into the fold. Well, shit. Why don't you just let him introduce himself? What do you mean? He's not here.
Good evening.
Judas? What happened to you?
Whatever do you mean?
I think I can explain this. Please do. Well, I was checking out this wild as fuck satanic panic black metal band called the Infected Infants, and this guy was riffing on the sixth string like a madman, and so, yeah, that's why he looks like that. I'm not talking about the black leather and corpse paint, Lobo. I'm talking about the fucking fangs.
Ah, yes. Well, you see, I was staking out a flock of batty groupies that were just hanging around, and before you know it...
Guys and ghouls, welcome to this week's episode of Masters of Matinee Theater of Terror. This week, the newest Master of Matinee, Judas Cinema Closet, joins the show to discuss the most demented and fucked up shot-on-video horror film you've ever seen with its creators Bob and Derek, the Ferreira brothers. Buckle up your butt cheeks, because today we're talking about the Carnage Collection.
Wait a minute, aren't you forgetting something?
Oh yeah, silence yourself, Holmes. Right after that nasty burp, we are joined with Judas Cinema Closet, the newest Master of Matinee, and we are talking with Derek and Bob Ferreira, the two brothers behind the shot-on-video, in my opinion, absolute disaster piece, the Carnage Collection. My friends, may I say, welcome to the show, and you boys are demented sick fucks. It's great to have you.
What did you make us watch?
Oh, well, we did our best. That's a real compliment, and I appreciate that.
This movie is so not what I was expecting, because I've seen a lot of independent, hey, watch my movie kind of people out there, especially being on YouTube and TikTok for as long as I have. Everybody's got, everybody that collects movies has got a movie that they want you to watch. But yours stands out quite apart from every other one that I've ever seen in some really funny, witty, cheesy, and absolutely sick and disgusting ways. And I just gotta say, I fucking loved it. I had a smile on my face the entire time I was watching it.
Awesome. That's a glowing review. We love that. Thank you. Yeah, we try not to be pushy about the movie, but we've had it out for a long time, and at this point, it's just like anybody who even shows like a remote interest in wanting to watch it, it's like, yeah, please do. We've been told it's a good party movie.
Yeah, make fun of it.
Whatever that is to you. Yeah, get your friends together and friggin' do a Misty 3K kind of a thing with it.
Well, we're going to kind of go into discussing. I know that Judas has a whole list of questions. I have a couple topics that I want to cover on it. While it sounds like Derek is over there eating his microphone.
That's all he does to that microphone.
Oh yeah, if you guys see the Carnage Collection, hide your electronics. So
my fucking phone fell, okay?
All right. I want to hear real quick, Judas, what are your initial thoughts on this movie? Like when you started watching this, what was going through your mind?
So I actually watched this movie into two parts because I am a stay-at-home dad, and this is definitely one I had to watch and then have to stop and watch again. My initial thoughts going into were are not that high, to be honest. I've been watching a lot of SOVs lately, a lot of them lately, and most of them disappoint more than make happy. And went into this one, I was like, all right, this one's a bunch of friends I know, not personally, but I do know of them, talk to them. So we'll go into this. Saw the length of it. That was my first impress right there. I was like, okay, that is some length, especially for SOV.
Feature. Yeah. Yep.
So that was impressive right off the bat, and I was thrilled with this movie. Actually, this movie blew me away. To be honest, the transitions to the music, to the catchphrases, and you can tell a lot of love went into this.
I like that you mentioned the catchphrase and stuff. A lot of the little ridiculous throwaway like jokes and stuff are either inside jokes that we've all had for years or references to some of our old short films that like have never seen the light of day. Like when she says in The Clown, the day the clown cried blood, she says, "Don't be such a clit," and that was some stupid throwaway line from one of our old shorts from like 25 years ago. And it's like, we got to put it in again, though. We got to make that a thing, like make it relevant. Don't be such a clit.
That's a great
Hey,
line too.
I think it's that exact fact that you guys are all naturally use those in your life that it worked really well throughout your movie.
Well, when I hear stuff like that, I'm reminded of like Kevin Smith and stuff. When he wrote the dialogue for Clerks, he wrote that because that's how he and his friends talked, and it captured a generation. So, I mean, you guys are just doing the same thing. You write about what you know, and I think that's absolutely an astounding message that you guys have pulled through. Like not really the horror message, but just the can-do attitude message that anybody can go out there, and if you have the drive and passion to make something and create something, you can do something really cool. And I it is now my mission to get as many eyes on Carnage Collection as possible, because this is a fantastic film. I want to hear from Derek real quick. Can you kind of break down for the audience listening at home, briefly break down the whole like premise of the film?
Um, no, it's an anthology. I mean, we live like almost 2 hours away from each other, so we were filming, and we did our best to make a wraparound story.
Well, but we did that last, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I am way too judgy of my own work. I have literally so we edited it back and forth because I didn't have the equipment. So Bob did it, and I sent it to him. He sent it back. I looked it over. So I've only ever seen my movie in full maybe twice. I watched it once when we were finished. So like it's fucking vague in my mind, dude. Like I remember what I did, don't get me wrong, but like this is a better question for Bob.
Okay, Bob, let's hear from Bob about the premise.
The premise of the movie is a dude gets a cable package from hell. And basically the movie you're watching is him flipping through the channels, and these are the random people he's seeing. Which is basically the movie Stay Tuned with John Ritter. I mean, that's literally where I stole the premise from, when it was like, let's figure a way to make these things all linked together that have nothing to do with each other. Cable package from hell. So that's where that concept came from.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I actually picked up a lot of VHS files from it, before. I don't know if this would be before VHS. When did it exactly finish?
What's that? Sorry.
When did you wrap filming on it?
2015. It was yeah. Right, because Gabe was born in 2016. So yes, we put it right out before my son was born. So yeah, it's been about 7 years.
Yeah, I see some VHS, also some Videodrome to it.
Oh yeah.
And
well, I appreciate that. The funny thing you say about that is I hadn't even seen Videodrome at that point in time, but when we made this, I only watched Videodrome for the first time, like, 2-3 years ago.
Videodrome's a great fucking Cronenberg.
It's fucking awesome. It was a freaking awesome movie, for sure.
And the devil guys, I guess that was Satan who sells the cable box. That was played by your father, wasn't it?
It
Or
was,
Correct.
and he played Lucifer, and the
It's
best thing that my
just
dad has ever
about
done in his life. Like he
yeah.
like will tell you that it's the most important thing that he's ever done in his life was
He
being in this
supports
movie
us 1000%, and
so much. Yeah,
well, you
Oh,
gotta
he did
love
a
a
fantastic job.
yeah, he was so fun in it, and you gotta love a dad who supports his
It-
kids.
yeah.
Dude, he's gonna write a
Having an
book
IMDb
about
page is like it was like his life's goal, and now he's got one. So
Judas, do you have anything to add?
I blanked on the subject for some reason.
Be professional,
No,
Judas.
the exact subject actually. I was like, I have a lot to say. That's why.
yeah,
The fact that it was really great. I did have Videodrome vibes as soon as the cable guy showed up,
I
and
appreciate
then
that.
the transitions definitely gave me VHS, almost old MTV vibes. I loved it,
Mhm.
and whatever footage, stock footage, or whatever you guys filmed to use for those transitions was beautiful. It actually gave me that unnerving feeling, but
Oh,
also a little bit of
well,
what the hell and a little laugh every now and then because you spot little weird things in there. I
yeah,
loved it.
that we have to give credit for to Ryan Nicholson actually, because all of those clips are from the movie Gutterballs.
Oh, okay. I thought I noticed one
Yeah,
of them. I was like, I haven't seen this. I
yeah.
don't think I know that at
No,
all.
they're all from Gutterballs. Ryan was a good friend of mine. He was an FX consultant on our movie. Which basically meant like anytime I had any sort of stupid question, I'd be like, "How do I best do friggin' blood from a cock?" Kind of thing or whatever. And he'd talk to me, and we talked about that stuff. So though he was like, "Yeah, you can use whatever you want of my stuff." So we put Gutterballs in there just because I love that movie so much.
Oh, hey,
That's a neat little
that's
reference.
awesome.
Like
And
it.
that's really cool that he helped out with like
Oh, that's true. Actually, come to think of it, Derek had a bunch of is like the archivist of our our point and shoot films, and we used to be LB Films, which was just low budget films way back when we started making shorts. So Derek had a bunch of old point and shoot footage, and so some of those clips actually, that's right, I forgot. Some of those are like really old point and shoot movies from when we were like teenagers.
oh, that's cool.
That's great. Um, I want to know what kind of was like your inspiration going into the film. I mean, you're two kids from New England who probably didn't have a whole lot to do, and you're raised on horror movies. And I know a little bit about you guys personally. I know that you were raised around movies, and your parents owned a theater and all that. And that's a super sick backstory. But what really kicked that into gear one day that you two looked at each other and you're like, let's fucking make a horror movie? And you said that you had made other short films and stuff years and years ago. So what was like the genesis that you guys were like, let's give our hand at filmmaking?
Sure.
I'm not even sure. I mean, you were 3 grades ahead of me, so like you had access to the cameras at school before we ever had access to a camera because it wasn't until
Yeah,
what I was
sophomore
15 that I
year.
think Daddy got us our first
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah. So our dad went to well, that was the VHS one though, but from the school, that was probably around the time late 90s, early 2000s. By the time I was in high school, we had the ability to like take out on loan the equipment from our video production. So that was when we started making shorts. Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s. We did a lot of stop motion stuff back then too, just for fun. It was really just like
I
creating
mean,
some it was really just creating something.
yeah, I mean, stop motion was just picture after picture, but
Yeah, well, and then like Lego stuff and like just to fuck around, just to like get used to like filming anything or storytelling really, because like you
dude,
said,
I
yeah,
wrestled my Hulk Hogan just for fun on video
yeah.
camera.
Right.
So
Yard
you guys have
wrestling with
always
stuffed
been into
animals. Like,
film.
dude, it was just our whole thing was just make whatever you can. Because like you said, they didn't own the movie theater, but they worked at the movie theater our entire life. I mean, from the time I was born up until I turned 13 and I started working at the theater, and I did that for almost 20 years. So I mean, like our entire life was growing up in a movie theater, and it was movies, and it's kind of been that way my whole life. It's like, all right, well, I got to put the wife and kids up here, but it used to just be movies and then everything else. So Now
I
it's the wife and
understand
kids,
that.
and movies is right under that, and everything else.
No, movies is definitely.
That's not true.
So what do you guys still have, like, these old videos and films and stuff that you shot from years and years ago?
Oh yeah, dude, that's where the Usher's trailer that I loaded to TikTok came from, and
Yeah.
I think
So
I
you're the
uploaded another one too from way
couple
back
other
in
ones.
the day. To be straight honest, most of our old shorts, like, I don't know, if you weren't there when we filmed it, you might not understand it. Sometimes the stories didn't flow very well. The
That's
reason
fair.
that we became point and shoot films is because we'd get bored and we'd just be like, hey, let's start with an establishing shot and then roll with it.
Yeah. And everything that we do is just reference after reference. I'm surprised that he didn't just say establishing shot of the cock, because that's just like an onset thing with us. Or like, if we don't say like rolling or action or anything, we always just say we're sucking because it's an orgasmo reference. So every fucking thing that we do is reference after reference. There's so many lines in our movie that are, the bag of moldy tangerines is a straight ripoff of UHF and stuff like that's. We kind of live our entire lives in movie references, which is, I mean, amongst you guys, that's probably all right, but amongst a lot of people, they're
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is the matter with
Hey.
you guys,
Well, think about it. A lot of movie groups do the same. I mean, you got Adam Sandler's crew. Their whole crew is a lot
Yeah.
of references on their movies. You got
Yeah.
Seth Rogen's crew, same thing. Then you got the
Yeah.
Clerks, Kevin Smith's crew.
And my thing comes from I am a massive John Waters stan. And that's the same thing with the Dreamlanders. Like, if I could be anything, I would be a Dreamlander and make movies with John Waters. That would be my goal.
You would fit right in. I'm sure he'd love to work with you.
I mean, dude, that's like, that's a lot where a lot of my is. I mean, I watched Pink Flamingos when I was 7 for the first time. Which is probably not a good, but you know what? I met John Waters a couple months back, and he said that I seemed like I turned out fine. So I think I turned out fine.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that might be debatable. No.
Yeah, right.
So here's what
John
you guys
Waters is
do.
okay.
Here's what you guys do with all that footage you have. In a few years when you guys are mega famous cult filmmakers and stuff, you get up with like Vinegar Syndrome and you sell all that stuff to them so they can release a $150 box set of all of your filmography and call it
People
like
would be like, what the fuck did I just buy?
you call it the
We're gonna get-
Ferreira Files.
Get some crazy
Yo, who
artists
is
to see the
this?
box art.
Oh, it's so underground. They could promote it so well.
Yeah, just newly discovered film elements.
I
It'll
would
actually
the
come with this
fuck?
podcast.
I would
scripted in a
love.
hardcover
Like
box.
the teenagers running around swearing.
Isn't that just a Kevin Smith movie though?
Kind of.
Used to film a lot of fucking fake, what I called Blair bitch, and it was mostly me just running around in the woods shaking the camera.
Yeah, whatever. Like I said, turn a camera
Now-
on and film something. Yeah.
Now, you pointed out the woods, and that was one thing I wanted to talk about. Is your location is great. Where's most of the stuff filmed at?
All in Maine and New Hampshire.
Maine and New Hampshire. Okay,
Yeah, we are New England born and bred.
excellent. I'm guessing you had a cemetery close.
Up the street from us.
Yeah,
Right
that
up the
was
street
that
from my
was.
house.
Maine, motherfucker.
Oh, that's why we have 2 different cemeteries. It depends. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But yes,
guys
both of them were right up the road from our
Yeah,
respective
you
houses.
utilize the locations for the film really well because like you kind of, if you're paying attention, notice they kind of used the same scenes but used it for different shots with different angles and different places. So I loved it, to be honest.
Oh, well, thank
Oh,
you.
like
Really
the
good
shed?
utilization.
Yeah.
The shed, yeah, the shed was like the main set for that was like Point and Shoot Studios was the shed at Derek's backyard.
That shed has now been torn down, ripped.
Yeah. R.I.P. Pour one out for our dead shed homies.
Yeah, if somebody
Speaking,
wants one of the doors from the shed, auction goes up soon.
We'll sign it. I'll sign it for
Point and
you.
Shoot is now A25 Films.
For the VCR though.
Yeah.
Speaking of that shed, there's something very interesting that happens in the beginning of the movie in that shed with a haunted Santa Claus Christmas decoration. It's the first. It's the first like vignette in the anthology. Boys, who the fuck looks at a Santa Claus and is like, that right there is our killer? Because that shit.
So,
is hilarious.
Found that fucking thing outside a free clothing depot in our town, fucking driving by and went, I need that. And then it sat in on that shed for the longest time. And then my wife's brother actually was the one who was like, we were sitting in the shed ripping butts, and he was like, it's a fucking creepy Santa behind us. And he's like, I swear to God, it got closer. Bam, idea right there.
Whole
Yeah.
fucking segment.
Oh, geez. Now, did you have two of those Santas? Because I noticed one of them is like get cut up and amassed. Just
No, we
we had
sequential
one
filming.
of those Santas.
Very nice. I got to say that one was one of my favorite ones. Your head smashing that. You did say you got a couple tips from the Gutter Balls guy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the gore.
Yep.
That was gorgeous.
We love that. There's a shot. Just Derek and I were out there filming that, and it's just in the woods behind his house. And there's a shot because we, of course, like I said, we've been making movies for years and trying to figure out gore effects and stuff. And that one, it was all in my ear, and there's like hamburger in it and fucking oatmeal, and we thought it looked so badass. And there's a shot from the behind the scenes of Derek being like, "You're the fucking bloodiest mess we've ever had," and it was just, yeah, I still love that shot. I made a GIF of me getting beaten in with the present, and I posted every Christmas, like, my fucking life here with Christmas presents.
Yeah, and you almost went deaf because all the shit was getting in your ear.
Oh yeah, Jesus. Don't ever put like hamburger in your ear or any other orifice that isn't your mouth.
All right, I'll make a note of that. Speaking of that first one, I probably still will now remember suck my motherfucking jingle balls forever.
Yes. We have stickers made of that, or we did. I don't know if we have any left.
My motherfucking. I think we had a few different lines there, and at one point it was. Well, I'm not going to say what it was, but it was more inappropriate, but more something that would have been said in like an 80s slasher horror film, but that probably wouldn't quite fly. So, I mean, we tried a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, we tried that line like 10 different times because there were plenty of times that I just fucked it up on purpose being stupid.
So many random variants of that line. And also the part where I look up at him right before he beats me in and I say, there's one where I'm like, happy holidays, you bastard. And I just saying whatever popped into my head. That's why we're point and shoot films, man. We don't script out a lot. We just have a basic idea. We point the camera and say, this is how we're doing it.
It's a really intense way to film. I've been there and done that with a very light outline of a script. And it's, I mean, it takes a lot of creativity, inherent talent to be able to really do that. And I got to commend you guys for that. Because I mean, like I said, this movie is crazy. I did want to circle back to what Judas had said. He mentioned that it was a very lengthy and girthy time that the movie is runtime. Like if it's full feature length, that is absolutely insane for an SOV. I don't think I've ever seen an SOV personally that's over like 45 minutes. So for you guys to go full feature length on this,
we refused. It had to be full feature.
Had to be. Had to be. I said, if this movie isn't at least 85 minutes, then it's not a real movie. That's like in my mind, at least the minimum for a feature, 85 minutes. I know that. I think the Academy considers it like 60. I don't know. That's not a feature to me.
I'm sitting here watching this movie, and like I got to tell you,
going, what the fuck is this still going?
No, I got to tell you, that's the biggest compliment I personally can give to a film. Is I am really bad to check how much time is left on a movie, especially if there's like a lull in it in anywhere. I will always be checking to see how much time is left. It's just a bad habit of mine. I know it's kind of disrespectful to the film, but like I just do that. I didn't fucking do that once in your movie. But every time that one of the vignettes would end, I'd be like, okay, this is over, right? Because that was a fucking crazy ending. Like that was something like they got to be ending it on that, right? And then nope, right into the next one. Dude flips the channels right into the next one, and it's even somehow fucking crazier. And it starts pretty cheesy with the Santa Claus thing, and I love that. And I love how
intentionally so, you know.
Yeah, well, I love how self-aware it is, but then it progressively gets more and more demented.
Oh yes.
Thank you.
So you go from Santa Claus into Killer Clown, who I see the Killer Clown next to you, don't I?
No,
Yes,
we go
that's-
from Santa Claus into drugs.
Drugs first.
Well,
yeah.
drugs first, yes, but like I'm talking about like the big jump, because that Killer Clown skit is fucking crazy too. Do you want to come on and say hi, introduce yourself to the show?
Yes, she does.
Oh, of course I do. Fucking kill you all.
This is stage name Felicia Grimm. This is my wife. Who the clown segment was her really almost entirely.
And I'm outside your window right now.
Oh, well, it is
That's awesome.
nice to meet you. You did fucking great in this. That was were you also the girl with the with the sloth?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
sloth?
Fuck yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about that here in a bit. That was we'll get into that. First that's the ultimate level of twisted to me. But before that, there's also another really impactful scene that is disgusting and hilarious. And good old Derek here has
I know where
brought
you're
this character over into the tickety talk the tickety talk realm. If you guys don't know, real quick, I want to plug their channels. Derek and Bob are both film talkers. They're both big physical media collectors, diehard movie lovers, and they both are on TikTok. You can follow them. You can follow Derek at HorrorFilmKid48. You can follow Bob at PS Films Bob. They both are making great content, so go follow them. But over on Derek's channel, he has started bringing in the character from Carnage collection, Big Dick Doug, and I don't want to spoil Doug's fate, but I will reiterate something that I said in the beginning. Hide your retro electronics from Big Dick Doug.
My God.
Guys, where did Big Dick Doug come from? What's the inspiration behind this? I gotta know.
You want to know the inspiration?
I gotta know. I gotta know. Like, all right. So if now I genuinely like these two fellas. Okay, I consider Bob and Derek my friends. So if my friend is gonna make me watch a movie where he shows his ass, I need to fucking know why I'm looking at his ass.
Yeah, that wasn't expecting to see a full nice frame of that.
Yeah.
Male nudity, man. We love it.
Feel a little closer to you, bud.
Tira, wasn't it Tira who had come up with the VCR monster? Or was that you, Derek?
Huh?
The VCR monster, was that?
Yeah, she did the creature design. I can't remember. Did you come up with that?
I think you might have said something about Big Dick Doug.
Yeah, I don't know where Big Dick Doug surfaced from.
I just love that we made him his own fake dating profile and stuff.
Well, so the dating profile picture was a rip on this douche that I went to high school with, who always wanted to make movies with me, but he liked fucking movies that I didn't like. Like, he was just pretentious. And so, yeah, that picture was mocking him. And we used to call that dude Logan Cockmaster D. So I think it just kind of stumbled into something that rhymed. And I don't even know. My thought process with so many things doesn't make sense.
Yeah. You guys did not know where you were getting into with this interview.
Well, I got
insight into our lives, man.
Including Big Dick Doug, this actually had a lot of characters that stand out to me that I loved, and I even gave slight nicknames to.
This is
and I had to know if at the end of which one was it? Oh yes, there's I think the 8th one, where it's actually your mask. I do believe it's his profile picture.
Oh, Derek's, yeah.
Oh, torture.
Yes.
Is that supposed to be Big Dick? The Return of Big Dick Doug?
I had
No.
So I had a thought on that. And I think Judas, you're kind of going where the same thing that I'm going in. That's a really twisted, demented love story right there. With what did you call him?
Oh, that was all my wife's idea, man.
What did you call the character of that character?
This just
We didn't think there wasn't really ever a name for it. Maybe,
Oh,
fuck,
yeah.
maybe it is Big Dick Doug. Fuck.
Well,
should
so
make it Big Dick Doug.
Yeah.
so at the end of that at the end of that sketch, when he's sitting there after he commits his special act, and it's the camera is like panning over and it reveals a picture of them, I was 100% expecting for the camera to pan over and he's looking at the fucking VCR.
I was expecting him to sit on the ground to look up and look at the VCR on the bed or something.
There isn't sequel in the works. We'll see what we can do.
Hell yeah!
You guys, creative, story development.
So I went through. Oh, sorry, go ahead,
yeah.
Juice.
Fuck. Well, I wish they were recording it for video, but we haven't gotten to this point yet. But
oh my gosh,
man, there it is.
she's still got the sloth. Holy shit!
I'm calling the original Slaughterhouse now, by the way.
Dude, I haven't watched Slaughterhouse yet, but I did see a clip they released where the sloth roofies a girl, and I was like, motherfucker, where have I seen this before? Oh, right, when I wrote it and filmed it 7 years ago. And then, I joked because
ripped off.
I joked because I read an article about that after where they were talking to the director and they said, where did you come up with this idea? And he's like, oh, the writers have been working on it for like 6 years. And I was like, 6 years is one less than the 7 when I released the Carnage collection. So I don't think that they probably really stole it, but I like to think that somebody saw my movie. I mean, thought it was worth ripping off and made a fortune. I kind of hope that they did rip me off in a way. It's kind of like when the first time I found out somebody pirated my movie and I was kind of like, oh, hey now, all right, cool.
You guys,
I've never expected to be worth pirating.
If you guys know OTS movies on TikTok, Stephen Lackey, he's a documentarian. And he made a documentary called Family of Fear. And he told me, he said, yeah, I really knew I made it when I found a seed for my documentary on Pirate Bay.
Right. Oh, yeah. I actually had somebody, 2 separate times, I had people reach out to me to buy copies of the movie. One person had downloaded it, and somebody else said that they watched it at their friend's house, but they knew that they had streamed it on like Kodi or whatever, and they said, I want to own it. 2 sales out of that. So that was, yeah. We haven't sold that many, so those ones are super memorable.
Heck, I'll let you know. I watched it, and I still want to buy a copy of it. That definitely needs a place on my SOV shelf.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm gonna be talking to you about some of that, getting a couple signed copies.
Oh yes,
yeah, there's a stack of them over here. We just gotta wait until I see Derek or one of the other, and then. But you know what? The nice thing will be because if we sign them, I got him here. We'll get my dad to sign him too. Lucifer loves giving his autograph on stuff.
Oh yeah, nice. I want the lady in the back holding the sloth to sign it too. God damn.
Everybody's
part of it.
We know we got everybody.
So I have a special treat pulled up here. I have Big Dick Doug's dating profile pulled up here for the audience to hear. All right, so the summary. Yo, what's up, ladies? My name is Doug, but everyone calls me Big Dick Doug because my dick is the biggest you'll ever swallow. HMU if you're a hot chick who likes big cocks, getting on your knees, drinking, partying, and eating out hairy ass. What I'm doing in my life. By day, I'm a business professional. But by night, I'm just a dude with a big cock who wants to put it in your tight ass. If you like to party, send me a message, girl. 420 friendly, baby. Winky face.
And now I know why that girl was going to send him a message.
Oh my god. That's the funniest shit ever.
To make that whole page, to make it look legit, just for that one. So I'm so glad you paused it. I haven't even heard that in years now. I'd forgotten how good that was.
I messaged Derek after I watched it. I was like, yo, I fucking paused and like was scrubbing the video trying to find the fucking place so I could read what that said. I was like, it had my interest. I had to see more about this Big Dick Doug character.
Speaking of that, is the film completely in 380p, or is the Blu-ray a higher quality?
No, so you guys, yeah, I know. I mean, you guys say it's SOV, and it partly is, partly isn't. It basically depended. I mean, because we filmed this over, I want to say almost 2 years, a year and a half. So I mean, some of it was shot on mini DV. Some of it was shot on my old phone in 1080. We eventually did end up buying like a nice like Canon, like the X700 series, like an actual 1080 film camera. Well, not film obviously, but you know what I mean. So it was a whole manner of different stuff it was shot on. It really just depended on the scene and what we had in the moment.
I am
You did
curious.
really well blending it together.
It did. It all looked very consistent. But I am curious because the screener that we got to watch from YouTube is like locked to 380. So is the Blu-ray for the consumers? Is the Blu-ray going to be in? Is that in 1080?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, y'all go fucking buy the Carnage collection.
Oh yeah.
Right the fuck now. Message Bob. It's available on Amazon too, isn't it?
Yeah, as far as I know, it's still in stock there because we put out just DVD though.
Okay.
It was on Amazon and Best Buy and everything. We got like legit distribution for the DVD. But the Blu-ray I kept the rights for because all right, you do not make money making movies, I'll tell you right now at this level. So, we've got distribution and I've made maybe $40 off of what we sold that way. No shit. It's just not for like DVDs, but the Blu-rays, I mean, that's the one that people actually ask for, which is kind of crazy to me, knowing how that DVD is still wildly outsells Blu-ray, as we all know. We never really had a lot of people looking for Blu-ray. We had a VHS run, sold it out immediately. And I've done 7 or 8 Blu-ray runs at this point because I can just keep making them, as I need to and stuff. I've run out of stock. A few years ago, we had a fire. I lost my computer and stuff. So all the original files, I don't have anymore. I only have like later versions of things. So I keep having to put out new versions of the Blu-ray.
Well, hey, if you go to put out a new version of the Blu-ray, if you want to use this episode as a behind the scenes bonus feature thing for it, you're more than welcome to, my friend.
Hey, awesome. That would be fun. I could do that. I'll just fucking make another one. I will make a specific like Masters of Matinee edition Blu-ray, limited edition.
Ooh, there we go.
I'd be down.
Speaking of that, I didn't even know you got JT into the movie with number 7, JT the Suicidal Watch Dickhead. I swore that was JT for the longest, sitting there at the bridge smoking a cigarette. I was like, what the hell?
That is our brother Kim, who also, that's his segment, the Angel of Death segment there.
Okay. That was a really nice segment. I enjoyed that.
That really flipped the script on me too. I wasn't expecting the whole that the Angel of Death was just keeping him alive to torture him longer and to end up doing the job himself. That was fucking crazy.
Yeah, that one was the only one. I mean, Derek's in that one. I think that's the only one I didn't have like any sort of hand in or story or anything at all. I just edited it, and I think Kim is actually really disappointed with the edit on it because there's like a lot more that he wanted to include. So maybe we'll just do another version again.
Hey,
sometimes these anthologies turn into full movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had ideas, we had other ideas, and things developed like a lot over time. Like even the stuffed segment, the last one with the sloth, that originally developed as it was just going to be a normal. I collect stuffed sloths, and I have a little sloth that I named Steven, but it's a brand, it's like Gund or whatever. And I'm like, well, we can't really use this in the movie. So we commissioned somebody to make a sloth, and it ended up being a lot bigger than we thought it would. So a lot of the ideas we had about the original version where she steals, originally it was like at one point the sloth is like in her purse and is like trying to get her to steal at a store, like go bad kind of. Well, we couldn't do that with Rufio when we found out how big he was. So we changed a lot of the story, and I honestly love kind of filmmaking in that way,
Now,
where
who voiced the
very
sloth?
freeform. What's that?
Who voiced the sloth? Was it HK?
No, it was Thomas Townsend. He's a friend who actually I had known through Ryan Nicholson. We've been like online friends for years, but he's an indie actor.
Oh, all I got from that was Bill Moseley vibes for a lot of those sloth scenes, and it was amazing. Really sat
Awesome.
really well.
Yeah, he's from geez, where's he at? Kentucky, Tennessee. So he's got that southern, and it really just fit the Rufio character super well, I thought.
I love the name Rufio too. That's such that's a brilliant play on words right there. So the Rufio skit and the one with Derek's masked killer, those deal with some really, really intense subject matter.
Ooh.
I say it's demented because it is fucking demented and sick, but it's like, I mean, in I gotta say that was gutsy to put sexual assault stuff in a movie in modern times. I guess when you guys released this, it probably wasn't all.
It was 7 years ago.
Yeah, we were a little before where we're at now, of course. But we grew up on 80s and 90s horror movies. I mean, we were, and it's sexy. It's sexy sexual assault. I don't care what you have. Well, in the stuff, yeah,
Well,
that's how you touch on girl. Let me say how I touch on. We figured it was okay mostly because it was a stuffed animal. For that portion anyway. I know the other one, the torture one with Derek and his wife Tira, is not a stuffed sloth, and that one's pretty fucking brutal.
Yeah, no, it's pretty hard for her fucking family to watch.
Well, I'm actually gonna say this. Wait, what was that?
Well, our family have all seen it because they were such big supporters. They've seen except our mom. Except our mom. But so everybody's seen Tira get her shirt ripped off and my wife masturbating with a fucking doll.
So there was the option of actually with the doll of using legit, equipment. But then the father-in-law.
But then people will have been seeing it. So you have to draw the line somewhere.
Well, I'm gonna say you got me on a shock value. Definitely.
Oh, nice! That's my goal, man.
Well, even going from sorry, what, JT?
I just want to say real quick, like it's important to note that we're not trying to like say, oh, that was so fucked up it should be canceled. On this show, like every host on this show unanimously has fucking agreed that with film, it's art, and sometimes art has to show that really sick shit. It's all a form of personal expression, and I think that if that's the message that you needed to convey at the time that you needed to convey it, then so be it. I still think it's a brilliant piece of art, as shocking as it is. I'm also curious to know if you had any conversations with the sex store owner when you went to buy a pocket pussy to stick a knife in it.
Oh, well, so that I bought that on Amazon, dude. And when the budget of this movie was zero. It was like buy these props or buy the things when we can afford to, and then we can shoot what we need to. So it was like, it was like a $20 or $30 fake vagina that shows up. And I don't know if I want to talk about getting canceled. I think it was supposed to be a child. Like it showed up and it's the size of it. And there was sparse fake hairs in it. We pulled that all out, and I used makeup to make it look. Dude, that's why the shot of that is so close up, because first of all, it was only like this big, so we didn't have a lot of space to shoot around. But we've had people who gave us some pretty fucking weird looks after seeing that. We screened that movie publicly.
I would love to have been standing at the end of the door.
Bangor, Maine, dude. That shit segment won the Bangor Film Festival in Bangor, Maine, a couple of years ago. So,
man, that's seriously, it was a crazy scene, and I think it's definitely, honestly, for as twisted as the subject matter is, I think it's the best scene in the movie. It steals the whole show. It's so intense, and it deals with
And it's
such
pretty.
it deals with something that, honestly, something that a lot of people deal with: loneliness,
Mhm.
pent up sexual aggression. I mean, it's a relatable
Yeah.
thing, as crazy as that is. But
Thanks. It was supposed to be grotesque in the way, I guess, but
oh yeah,
we were just trying to make something that would shock. I mean, like I said, I grew up on John Waters movies. I wanted to be shocking, but still tell a story. There's a difference to me between what I guess people would call like the torture porn and stuff, but like, just movies that don't have any story at all, that are just gore fests and stuff. I've never been really into like the Lucifer Valentine movies and stuff like that, and the really just gore for
Yeah.
gore's sake kind of stuff. I mean, I've seen them, and I have no problem with people who enjoy that stuff, whatever, like whatever you want. But like, I mean, in fact, we saw like LV when it was this Gorgitated Sacrifice trilogy, and then they came out with a fourth one. We saw it in the theater at a film festival, and just like we're like, okay, like it. I don't know. So I like to have a story with my gore and my fucked upness, even if the story is admittedly kind of weird or you know.
I mean,
I know.
it's
I would.
not the weirdest thing I've seen this week. I did watch David Cronenberg's Crime of the Fucking Future earlier this week. That was the weirdest thing I've seen this week. Sorry, Judas, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, the fact that you guys, for some of the film, I don't know if it was on purpose, but you were giving us that Alfred Hitchcock style where you would show the effect, but not the actual damage that the weapon was doing or anything. Especially even with the first one, or not the first one, I don't have a title for that one, sadly, but the one right before the last one, the first SA one.
That's torture. Yeah,
Torture, okay, yeah, the
yeah,
torture one, a lot of it was you'd see the hammer, then you'd see blood on the wall, you'd see the hammer, then you see blood on the wall, and then to go straight from that to see everything in the next one, it's like a shock value. You didn't know
yeah.
you're actually going to see those, so it kind of throws it right there. But it was done very tastefully, like JT said. I have seen them all. I've seen gutter balls, I've seen hangers, I've seen all that. Not a fan of them. Like I see them for the sake of I'm supposed to see messed up films here and there.
Gutter balls is a necessity to see with the music he wasn't allowed to use.
Right, the original,
I
the
bet.
bootleg soundtrack.
That's what I keep hearing.
The bootleg soundtrack with all the friggin' Canadian rock bands, dude. That's the best way to watch it. But yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I don't know, some of that stuff is budget constraint. When we were shooting the torture, the literal torture scene in Torture, and using those, the nails were like a Halloween. Wasn't that a costume prop? So it was like supposed to look like it went through the Achilles tendon and stuff. And really, it was just a matter of we can't linger on something, on something too long, or it will look super obvious that it's unbelievably fake. So let's use the shots that we can to make this look as cool as we're going to be able to. If somebody gave me $50,000 to make a movie, I'd probably make 5 to 10 movies and and break it up. But I'd still, like there'd be the money to like what I have in my head or whatever Derek wanted to do. Like if we could get it from our head to the screen in the way that some people in Hollywood get to, then it would look a lot different. But I'm still really happy with it.
Hey, well, despite the budget, you guys actually did the one thing I think that saves SOVs that a lot of them miss. You guys took your time and did lots of angles. Most of SOVs will do 1 or 2 angles and call that good. No, you guys did angles of grabbing things, angles of each corner. I loved it. It was very well done. You could tell a lot of love was put into it, despite there being a low budget.
Yeah, we used to do that a lot for the shots, like you mentioned. Like we like to have those like picking up the weapon and stuff like that. We used to, because we got used to shooting on VHS where you have to shoot sequentially. We didn't have VHS editing equipment, so you shot sequentially. So you'd have to, you have a guy running up the stairs and then coming out the top. You shoot him running just a little bit around the corner. You pause, you come upstairs, and you have to record it at just the right point to make everything work. Shooting like that, I think has helped us over the years, like, plan shots mentally. And then also when I was editing, like, I was like, this is exactly, I wanted to go ABC. So I love edit. I mean, I spent probably 100 hours too long on this movie in the first place editing. I don't think it probably needed as much time as I put in, but fuck, maybe it needed more. I don't know.
I think the amount of editing is actually really well done. The transitions, like I said, are one of my favorite things. The music you guys used, the soundtrack was extremely well done.
Oh, thank you.
Actually pushed my interest in going and doing scoring movies a lot more as well.
That's cool.
And the
Yeah,
last game,
go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say one of the scores is by this band Slings. It plays a lot during the trip scene, which is it's in like an abandonment and it's like the first person segment. They wrote that just for our movie, which was really cool. I For the music, it was a lot. Of like we just put out the word like, hey, we can't afford to pay you for your music, but if you make the kind of music that you don't care about that, and people would just send us tracks. So we have like rap in there. We have some like ska rock bands and stuff, and then Slings did an actual original score, and then Cancer Slug, which is my all-time favorite band, and I've been friends with them for years. He was like, "Yeah, dude, use whatever you want from our entire catalog." So there's a bunch of Cancer Slug songs in there too. That's yeah, again, we haven't done it, but Derek, you've wanted to do the bootleg version of our movie for years now.
Oh yeah, yeah, but fucking yeah, put music where I wanted it to be.
Yeah, you do
Just have Big Dick Doug do it.
the cut of the movie that we could never sell because it's got too many copyrighted songs in it.
I wanted to talk real quick about distribution, and then I would like to cover you guys' love for physical media and film in general, because that's the biggest sticking point of our show, is to really talk about the love for physical media and movies. But I want to talk about the physical media distribution. Um, what got you guys to be like, okay, well, I'm going to hold on to the Blu-ray rights and stuff and release this myself. What's that process like? As well as like, what was the process like for getting this into the distribution for like the DVD with another company?
Yeah, so when the movie was done originally, um, we did the DVD through Kunaki, which a lot of indie studios use. And it's DVD-R. But Kunaki wasn't doing Blu-ray at the time, so I went out and I bought. I don't even remember what program I was using at the time that could so I could just master my own Blu-rays at home, and I literally burned them one by one by one by one. Every time somebody ordered one, or I had a batch that I started with. And then after a while, it was kind of like we did a VHS run in the middle there too, just a super, super limited run of 13 VHS tapes, which all sold out immediately. In physical media, horror collectors, they love VHS. But the Blu-ray, the reason I kept the Blu-ray rights was just because after a while, I had all the programs I wanted. I could set up, and I'm doing the master copies. I've done probably 20 or 25 different movies for other indie filmmakers now. So I've started to kind of refine my skills on building the menus and trying to make everything look as professional as possible. So I just felt like I had enough handle on the Blu-ray. And when we were approached, we actually had distribution through a Blu-ray year right when we first started, but the dude who owned that company and had passed away, and the company just kind of went away. So at that point, it didn't matter. So after that, we were approached actually by Gator Blade Films out of Tampa, to do our DVD and to do the distribution a couple of years after we had released it. And I did a 5-year rights with them, and nobody's made any money off of it, but for our purposes, to be able to go to Amazon and look up the Carnage collection and see my name on an Amazon listing for my movie on DVD, man, it's kind of weird. It really still is to this day.
So what's you say this company out of Tampa, do they currently still have the DVD release rights?
Yeah, for another year, I think, or so.
I mean, I'm just gonna put this out there. I think that this movie has like, because there's tons of Blu-ray labels out there now. I think this has the staying power to like live with like, I don't know, maybe like Unearthed Films or something. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know what the logistics would be. Or well, Judas is also he likes, what is it, Wild Eye, right?
I was
Judas.
gonna say, Wild Eye Releasings has been doing amazing SOVs, and their physicals are wonderful. I watch a lot of them and collect a lot of them.
yeah. Actually, so there's Wild Eye. I've reached out to. So filmmaker first mistakes, first time filmmaker mistakes. I didn't like process the master file of my movie in a way that would be a good deliverable for things like streaming and for professional mastering. They need like, man, like when you want to like get your thing on streaming, especially if you want to get it on a major platform, like even if you do the direct to consumer kind of version of the Amazon Prime where you upload it on your own, they need your deliverables to have like subtitles, which I could do fairly easily. You can pay. There's companies that do them like $1 a minute, so for like $85 I could have the subtitles. But they need your audio tracks to be separated between your music and your dialogue and your sound effects and background track. I fuck man, I can't do that. Like I didn't know that I was going to need to do that to get on major ones. And even some of the minor ones, Wild Eye was one. I can't remember what it is they needed, but I just couldn't get them the file in the file format they would need. So there was a couple that were interested, or that I had reached out to and had correspondence, but some of them want to always have first rights, and that includes even having self-released. There's SDS who does. That was one where they were like, well, we would only do it if we could do the DVD and the Blu-ray, but you've already had one and the other. So there's just a lot of things, and that's kind of why at least now I'll know, when we get our next project going and ready to go, I'll know how it needs to be to be able to get on, Tubi is so good for like indie horror filmmakers, but I don't have the right file types for them, it sucks, but there's nothing I can do about it now. I mean, I can't start from scratch, so
Hey, it's a good lesson to learn, though, and good for
yeah.
anyone listening thinking about making a movie. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, look at yeah, definitely, like if you're gonna make something, look at what these places need in advance and try to figure out what deliverables you'll need just to make sure that you're using a program that'll output to the right thing. Or people use so many different, I mean, fuck, even on TikTok, like the editing that some people do of their TikTok videos, man, is like, there's going to be another generation of filmmakers who came up their Instagram and TikTok like making editing on their phone and like their timelines and shit that I'll never be able to do.
That's true. So we're gonna kind of go into TikTok here in a second, because you two, like I mentioned before, are big physical media collectors, and you have
Mhm.
built your TikTok channels based around physical media. Um,
Mhm.
so you had mentioned that your parents worked at a movie theater, and I have just this strange hunch that probably had something to do with the reason you guys love movies so much. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's yeah, definitely more our father than our mother, because our father let us watch whatever we wanted.
Gotcha. Growing
We
up,
had the same VHS tapes that had like 5 different movies taped on each one, and
okay, gotcha.
watched
Growing,
Back to the Future and BMX Bandits a ton.
Yeah. Private Eyes.
so that's really into my question. Growing up, like, what were some of your guys' favorites to watch?
Yeah, we had a tape so we had all these stuff like my dad, back when everybody had a black box, a cable black box, he'd record all this stuff off HBO and shit. So we had tapes. We watched a ton of BMX Bandits, ton. Not Quite
Willy
Human,
Wonka.
Willy Wonka. We had, yeah, the friggin' we have we watched Private Eyes. Yeah, the Don Knotts movie a ton. We just had like a handful of tapes that we fucking wore out. Like, but nothing that like as far as like horror, I think that both it was for both of us, it was probably Scream. So, that was 96. So I was 13 and he was, 9 or 10.
Gotcha.
That is the movie that I think really spearheaded us into the genre. Came out at just the right time for us, age-wise.
Yeah, but also seeing Terminator at fucking 5 years old, like I was.
T2.
I would say, yeah.
I mean, there's some pretty graphic, fucking horrific scenes in that movie.
I consider the first Terminator a horror film, actually. The first one.
I think most people do.
Straight up hunt and kill.
Yeah.
Horror action for sure. Predator style.
Yep.
So I'm gonna ask you one of the same things that I ask every guest that comes on the show, and I'm suspecting I'll get the same answer that I've gotten from practically everybody. I always ask, what is the thing about physical media that still keeps you collecting in 2023 as it is currently? And the answer that I typically get is, well, I'm old. I grew up in a time before streaming and everything. If you wanted to watch it whenever you wanted, you had to go and buy it. But other than just kind of relying on that's what you're used to, what is it about owning these movies and stuff that really just keeps you interested in it? And what is it about it that makes you be like, I want to actively collect these things?
Gee, I mean, the big part of it's the fucking artwork for sure. Growing up in video stores, the artwork that you see and a lot of these boutique labels, they have that old artwork on it, so it still gives you that vibe. And if I'm gonna buy something, it ain't digital. I want to fucking physically touch what I spend my fucking hard-earned money on.
Yeah, that's actually true, to be honest. It really makes you like I said, we had a house fire 3 years ago, and I lost everything. And I had a massive collection of 2,000 movies. I have now of those. I had to throw away almost all of it because it was just water and smoke damage, and I ended up with only having a handful of the discs left, and I had to throw everything else away. And for the longest time, I felt like the hobby was kind of meaningless after that. Because I was like, oh fuck, all of this stuff was just money that ended up getting thrown away in the long run. I can't enjoy it anymore. And it really took me a few years, honestly, to come back from that. And I'd started rebuilding my collection right away. But I really realized that unless, obviously there's the whole thing of well, streaming movies come and go all the time, but to be honest, there's plenty of ways to get movies at any time you want, regardless. We all know that. But on top of that, I just realized that as I've rebuilt my collection here, that Derek said, just the tangibility, it really does mean something. The reason I felt empty after I lost all those, it took me a while to realize, was because I fucking didn't have them anymore. It wasn't it shouldn't have been oh, this is meaningless now. It really kind of eventually showed me how much more meaning it has, and I've rebuilt here. And just being able to curate my own stuff in a way. I mean, honest, I said this in a video on Talk last week or the week before. I will just sit, and I used to do this in our old apartment before the fire. I would just sit in front of my fucking shelf or lay on the floor, especially when my son was first born and he was really little. I actually had to have my collection covered most of the time so that he didn't go over and start pulling them off the shelf. So when I could finally get him to bed and I was doing a reorganization, I'd take the big thing out of the way and I would literally just sit and look at the fucking collection and get so much enjoyment out of just being surrounded by these movies, man. And that may be the craziest thing ever, but I'm never going to be able to do that from a digital standpoint. It's fuck, who cares about that?
Not even a little bit crazy at all. At least Judas and I don't think so. Cause I literally, let me tell you, okay, real quick, there's this YouTube channel that I watch, and I'll go ahead and shout them out. It's Mid-Level Media. You guys probably have heard of them. And every week every month he does this audit with his wife where he audits the cost of all of the movies that he bought for the month. And one of the like a couple months ago, one of the excuses he used for double dipping on a movie was that he really loved the artwork. And she made a comment. She was like, are you really gonna like just like look at that artwork? Like, are you really gonna like just pull a movie off the shelf just to look at the artwork? And I'm like sitting there in my chair, screaming at my TV, yes, god damn it, I do that like every fucking day. Like,
yes, 100%. I was just thinking as you're saying that, Derek and I only see each other in person a handful of times a year, 5, 6, 7. And the first thing I do when I get to his house is walk in the living room, and we just stand there and immediately start talking about what's in his collection and pulling shit off and talking about movies. It's just, there's just something about the physical aspect it's a real community too. You get to do shit like this because of some disc.
That's actually the best. And coming from someone that's rebuilt his collection a couple times as well, you always have to go through that period right when you lose it of, was it even worth it? Should I start again? And it sucks to go through that. But to rebuild it, and every time you rebuild it to slightly different or slightly stronger, a little more classier, and it always seems to be better every time.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I definitely have my collection shit. I mean, I haven't bought DVDs in years. I it's pretentious, I guess, but dude, they've been outdated for 20 fucking years already. I just like to have movies in the best possible quality. I know that there's plenty of movies that didn't make it past DVD. Okay, but like I like to have a large 4K collection, and I like to curate like the boutiques and stuff like that. It just, I don't know.
And sitting around and looking at my movies, that's why they're in here, is because my little ones can't get to them.
Yeah.
Before that, tapestry I always hanging in the background used to drape over all my movies so they couldn't touch them as well.
Yep.
But I'll sit there for hours. Anytime, like after this, I'll probably sit there and reorganize a few. But that's one of my dreams I want to do, is I want to do an actual travel documentary of going to people's collections and getting very nice shots of their collections, physically going through them. I want to do that. That's going to be a dream of mine to be able to pull. Just got to get a little bit of travel money.
Yeah, well, come on up to Maine, man.
Definitely.
So let's switch gears real quick, and this is the last thing we're going to talk about because we are running out of time. This love for physical media and cinema and making movies for both of you guys has translated into TikTok. Where did you guys get the idea to start posting on TikTok, and which one of you guys started doing it first?
Derek did.
Okay.
Yeah.
He made that big dick pair.
I have a teenager who's always on TikTok, and I was like, oh, you know what? Can use it as another outlet for film, just a different type. It's content rather than filmmaking. But that's partly why I decided to bring the old BD Doug over to it, because I'm like, you know what? Maybe I want to try to do some more actual filmmaking on here, which doesn't seem to go over as well on TikTok, honestly. But it's what I like to do. So
Their loss.
The right audience.
Yeah.
That's their loss too.
I think that like pretty much everyone, I think I downloaded TikTok like at the beginning of the pandemic, and originally I was just filming my kids and using the filters or whatever. But earlier this year, really, once Derek has started going, and I was like, you know what, that's a much better idea. Like I deleted or made all those old videos private, and I just basically started my channel all over again as all film talk stuff. I was like, I'm constantly buying movies. I'm constantly friggin', and I said this in a video the other day too, I don't have anybody in my real life. My wife doesn't want to sit here and listen to me fucking ramble to her face about movies. But you know what? I can talk to a camera for as long as I want, and somebody can watch the whole fucking thing, or they can flip through whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. It's just getting it out there that's the fun of it, really. I just pretend I'm talking to everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from one film talker who's been at the game for a while now to two others, I am super glad that both of you guys are doing videos on TikTok. I think that you're both incredibly interesting parts of our community. You both bring originality and a uniqueness to your videos. The information that you share, as well as you guys doing more film stuff. I know that D had gone out and done the death of physical media video in that cemetery a couple weeks ago that absolutely
was
cracked me
hilarious.
up. Like, I think he had to do a sequel for Best Buy's physical media
Yeah.
section.
Oh, man.
So
Well, I
I
have a movie gallery in my town that I could go film in front of.
ooh,
There you go.
you should do
Sign's
that.
still there and everything.
Nice.
That'd
But
be
yeah,
cool.
I appreciate you guys' content. I appreciate you guys adding some good quality to the film talk community.
Thank
You
you.
know, our community is such, it's kind of like a 1 in a million type community. There's not really a whole lot of bullshit or drama that goes on in it, you know, not a lot of elitists and stuff that, not that I've seen too much
Right.
of anyway. I mean,
No, right.
they're out there,
Way.
but I feel like
Yeah.
our community really fights against it like really hard. And
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think that it's because we have such an eclectic group of people who just really freaking love movies, you know. So I'm super glad to have you guys a part of that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, most of the negative stuff seems to come from people who aren't in the community at all. They're just, they stumble across it and they're like, no. So
Right.
yeah, no, the community. I've said a few times. Derek and I have talked about this even outside of it and offline about it. Like, just like, dude, it's such a better, more chill environment than any other social media about movies, about collecting movies and stuff. If I showed off my collection with as many sealed copies as I still have on like Reddit, fuck yeah, you're get a friggin' ripped new asshole about that one, about how you're just a collector to collect. It's like, no, man, I fucking rebuild, and I've explained it before too, and people just, like, no, I'm rebuilding, man. I need to open them yet.
Yeah. And seeing how I have to say, from me being a film talker, you guys are awesome, and I love having you here.
Thanks, man. You're the
You
you guys are the
likes
best.
you here. I like you here. You guys do some awesome content.
Thanks, man.
Judas, do you have anything to add before we wrap up, my friend? Any other questions for the boys?
I want to say thank you guys for letting us see this screener. First of all, this was awesome. I definitely enjoyed it. JT enjoyed it. You guys did an awesome job.
Thank you.
Give you a good applause there for that. That was awesome.
I think I actually have an applause. Yeah, a little.
Thank you.
There you go.
Lazy.
There you go.
That's the best. That's the best award we've gotten there.
A lot better than this.
Oh,
I know a couple movies that get that.
I know a couple of movies.
Yeah, more than a few. All right, everybody. I've been JT the Talking Head. That's Judas Cinema Closet. We have been talking with Bob and Derek Ferreira at PS Films Bob and at Horror Film Kid 48. Thanks for listening. Go fucking buy a copy of the Carnage collection. What are you waiting for? You should have already bought it before you listened to this episode, because we talked about a bunch of spoilers. So go buy it now if you haven't already. Yeah, you have to buy it. You can you can hit up Bob in the DMs to order a copy from him.
Either one of us. We'll make sure you get something. Yep.
Yeah. So y'all go do that, and comment on this video, whatever platform you're on, and let us know that you purchased a copy. Let us know what you guys think. And we'll convey the comments to them so they can get a good ego boost and inspire them to make the sequel. All right, everybody have a great week. All right, you guys. I'm gonna go take a shower. After watching the Carnage collection, I feel dirty. Wimp, what did you call me?
I believe he called you a vimp.
Yeah, what the vamp said. You know what? Judas, since you're the new guy here, you want to take a shot at doing the outro?
I will give it my best shot. My children of the night, thank you for joining us in this thrilling discussion with Bob and Derek on this week's episode of Masters of Matinee, Theater of Terror. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to follow the show on all your favorite platforms. And go ahead and follow Bob and Derek on their TikToks at PS Film Bob and Horror Film Kid 48. We can't wait for you to join us next week on All Hallows Eve for the terrifying conclusion and season finale of Masters of Matinee, Theater of Terror. Blues Day Tuesday at noon. Same bat time, same bat channel.